All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. Albert Vartanian, Justin Pooty. Joining us now is Avery Perri of NorthStar Bets. Avery, lots to talk about, especially in the golf world. Scotty Scheffler putting on one hell of a performance this past weekend at the Players. I mean, what he did in that last round shows you why he's the number one golfer in the world. You wrote a piece on golf betting trends and kind of what to look out for, specifically on Scotty Scheffler. How is he getting it done? I mean, 6 wins in 13 months.
I mean, it's absolutely crazy what he's doing. To think about 14 months ago, he had 0 wins, and now he's a 6-time winner. And he only wins big events, too, at the Masters, the Arnold Palmer. He's won in Phoenix twice, and now the Players with a $4.5 million purse. And it really just comes down to how steady he is. He never looks like he's freaking out. He never gets nervous under pressure, and he just doesn't make bogeys, and it's that simple. You saw Minwoo Lee making a triple on, I believe, the 7th hole, and then his tournament just starts to unravel after that. But Scheffler is very, very steady. He only made 5 bogeys all week long. And if you're just putting the ball in a hole at that rate, you're going to win a lot of tournaments. And credit to Ted Scott, his caddy, because this success sort of correlates with when he came on the bag. And you can really see Scotty's demeanor is so calm and cool and collected. And that just helps him win. He's a killer out there.
Yeah, I think that's what separates him from the rest of the pack is how cool and calm he is, especially when he's under pressure. It's not easy being in the lead with having these guys behind you chasing him, right? You got to close the gap somehow. And then you have to, at least at the Players at TPC, you got to face 17, and he did it so well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You look at him, his ability to play well in those big tournaments, like you mentioned, Avery, he only wins big tournaments. And that he knows how to play well under pressure. And I think that's a thing a lot of golfers fall under, right? When they get that in the lead, Sunday, whatever happens. I did want to ask you about Max Homa, though. He's been playing a lot of good golf right now. What do you see in his game and, looking the rest of the outlook for 2023 for him?
Well, Max, speaking of guys that were breathing down Scotty's neck, he made a big push on Sunday. He just got in on the cut line and then had an unbelievable weekend to make himself a bunch of money and finish inside the top 10. And, for a moment there, I was like, okay, if Scotty crumbles, maybe Max can come and steal this from him. Wasn't meant to be, but it just goes to show how consistent Homa's been all season. He's just putting in good performance after good performance. He was runner-up to John Rahm at the Genesis Invitational. And a lot of that has to do with his ball striking. He is such a good iron player. Long irons, short irons, wedges. He's just super consistent. He hits lots of greens. And he's starting to get that sort of killer mindset where he's draining putts. He's walking them in. He's fist pumping. He has a feeling that he belongs with the big dogs. And it's Scheffler, Rahm, and Rory are the big 3 right now that everyone is saying, oh, how many majors are they going to win? But Homa's a guy, when major season rolls around, keep a lookout for him because you're going to find him at good odds, probably around 20, 25 to 1 at some events. And he can make a lot of noise. He's a really good player.
Yeah, I was big on Homa. I bet Homa to win the Players, and then on 16 he kind of slipped up, hitting into the bunker.
I bet him too. It was a tough scene, but
yeah, there was still behind him. Scheffler still had a lot of golf to play, so I'm like, Homa has to go in with a couple of birdies. It just didn't happen. Yeah. Looking ahead to next month, the Masters. Right now you can get Scheffler plus 750 on NorthStar Bets to win the Masters. He's one of the guys I definitely have my eye on. You mentioned a couple more: John Rahm, McIlroy. Obviously, Homa. Is there anyone else that you like that you think can put on that green jacket in April?
Mm-hmm. It's hard to overlook Scheffler to repeat just the way he's playing, but at 750, that's a number I don't really want to get into. One short guy, PGA Tour wouldn't like this. Cameron Smith went to Live Golf.
Yeah,
won the Open Championship, won the Players last year. I don't think they mentioned his name once on the broadcast the entire time. I mean, he's unbelievable. If we're talking ball strikers, he can get really hot. But his putting is what separates him from everyone else. He's a world-class iron player, but he can also just roll putts. And you saw when he made 5 straight birdies at St. Andrews to sort of rip the claret jug out of Rory's hand. He's one of a kind. And, there are concerns, like, is the level of play as high as it's been on the PGA Tour on Live? He won one of the Live events, so we'll see how he's keeping form. I feel like this is going to be a big indicator of how the Live guys will perform at majors moving forward. But I'm definitely going to give Cameron Smith a look at Augusta. He's played there so well before. He's had a runner-up. He was in the final group with Scotty last year. He's a horse for the course. And I think he and that mullet are going to be making noise come Sunday.
Now, of course, we're talking about Augusta. We got to talk about Tiger Woods. Plus 5,000 right now on NSB. Tiger got a chance? I mean, I think if Tiger Woods plays at Augusta, he has a chance. But does he legitimately have a chance to contend at Augusta?
If there were any course in the world where it were to happen, it would be at Augusta. I mean, we saw in 2019, we said the guy had no chance, and I don't know. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. He won. I'd say no. I mean, just like what's happened in the last year, it's sort of he's not there anymore, but I could see him making a push. I could see him finishing inside the top 20 or 30. He just knows the place so well. You know, he's just so strategic out there, where to leave the ball, how the greens break. So I could see him, you know, maybe being on the leaderboard, but not being in actual contention. But betting him to make the cut, that's definitely something I'm going to look at.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he makes the cut. I mean, it's hard not to play multiple events leading into a major, especially something like the Masters at Augusta. And he said, listen, I'm probably only going to play the majors. But what I do want to see, how about some live golfers with Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods,
Phil and
playing
Tiger
on a Friday or Saturday?
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to see that.
Who knows if that will happen this week? You got the Valspar, not exactly the Masters, but it's an interesting tournament. Over the last 5 years, you had a repeat from Sam Burns in 22-21, a repeat from Casey in 1918, and then some Canadian action in 2017 with Adam Hadwin. Do you expect another repeat by Sam Burns?
I don't. I just think he's been a bit too inconsistent lately. He had a really brutal tournament at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I think he missed the cut by about 6 or 7 strokes, and then he sort of was just there at the Players. He wasn't making much noise. So his form's not there this weekend. I mean, if there were any course for him to do it on, you know, he's won here 2 years in a row. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened, but I'm definitely not looking towards him as an outright bet. But speaking of Adam Hadwin, the Canadian, who won in 2017, I definitely got my eyes on him. He's been playing so well right now. He has 2 additional top 10, 12 finishes since he won in 2017. He just finished 13th at the Players. He's a horse for the course, and you can get him at 22-1 on NorthStar bets. And I'm also going to be betting him to finish in the top 20 at plus 150. I think he'll be on the leaderboard. He'll be in contention. It's just a matter of if he can hold the big dogs off at the top of the leaderboard.
We're speaking with Avery Perri of NorthStar Bets. Avery, currently, just 9 of the world's top 50 golfers are going to be at this tournament, the Valspar at Copperhead in Florida. Does that make this a tournament where, you know, targeting maybe a long shot or an underdog here makes more sense because the field isn't that strong?
That could definitely make sense. I mean, you also could view it from a point like Justin Thomas needs a win. He hasn't won in a while, so maybe he goes out here and tries to step on everyone's throat. And, you know, I'm not looking at him. I think he's plus 1,000 to win this event. He finished second here a couple of years ago. But, you know, some long shots could definitely make noise this week. Another 2 guys I'm looking at are Wyndham Clark at 33-1. Not exactly a super long shot. You know, you saw Kurt Kitayama won at 200-1 a couple of weeks ago. That's a long shot. Like Wyndham Clark's right around the middle of the board, but he's made 10 straight cuts. He finished 10th in Phoenix. He's a great ball striker. This is an iron player's course, and he's been like right at the top of the game recently with the way he's hitting his irons. So I'm looking at him at 33-1. And then also Keegan Bradley at 20-1. He was a runner-up here in 2021. He has 3 top 20s in his last 5 starts. And he's posted positive strokes gained approach in each of his last 5 events. And that's what you want, a hot iron player running into a course where you need to hit good iron shots. So those are the 3 guys I'm looking at.
So Avery, again, it's March Madness time. Everybody's scrambling, filling out their brackets. I think I've already made like 5 or 6.
I haven't even done
They're
one.
probably all going to get busted in the first day. Do you have any tips for the people out there on how to create the best bracket?
I think you got to want your mix of chalky picks and then upsets. You know, each of the last 5 tournaments has been won by a 1 seed. Since 1985, 90% of the tournaments have been won by a 1, 2, or 3 seed. But, you know, where's the fun in that? You got to take some upsets in the earlier rounds. The cream eventually rises to the top. But, you know, in the earlier rounds, it's upset city. I think in the last 10 tournaments, the 11 seed has won more than 50% of the time. I think they're 21-20 in the last 10 tournaments. So, you know, if you're looking at an 11 seed to pull off an upset, that makes a lot of sense. Of course, the 12-5 seed is always big for upset potential. And, you know, I'm going to put my stake in the ground here. I think Purdue is out in the second round.
Wow.
I'm not feeling Zach Edey. I'm not feeling Purdue.
National Player of the Year, Canadian?
I know. I hate to say it, but they've kind of capitulated in March before, and I just don't think they're going to make it that far this year. Memphis has such a good team, coached by Penny Hardaway, and I think they're going to pull off a big upset in the second round.
Well, yeah, to build on that Memphis point, I have Memphis making the Elite Eight because I think Penny's a great coach. Who do you have winning the tournament, and what's your Final Four looking like?
My Final Four as of right now, just give me 1 second. I got Alabama playing Houston in the final. And then I got, sorry for the delay here, guys. I just made it not too long ago. And then I got
me. I haven't even made it.
Yeah, exactly.
I got Tennessee, Gonzaga, Alabama, and Houston. So it's a pretty
Gonzaga finally shaking the March jitters, I guess. Okay.
I think this is a good spot for Gonzaga because, you know, they're always so stacked. They were always the favorite #1 team in the country. And now it's like, you know, it's kind of quiet around Gonzaga. Like Mark Few's had teams that are so stacked and have so much, you know, pressure on their shoulders. And now this feels like a year where they could like fly under the radar a little bit and just beat up on teams and go on a sneaky run.
Yeah, my move with the NCAA is shoot in the dark. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, I understand some of the storylines, but I mean, I'm looking at Alabama #1, and the only thing that I'm really seeing a lot of, they're a very good team, but there's some drama behind the scenes.
There's a lot of drama.
Right? Could that hurt them making a push to the NCAA final?
Yeah, but that team is so good. Like Brandon Miller's been involved in a whole lot of stuff off the court, but on the court, he's a top pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah. All right. That's been Avery Perri of NorthStar Bets. Avery, thanks so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Coming up on the show, we're going to talk some more sports. Obviously, this time, the Toronto Maple Leafs dropped a stinker against the Buffalo Sabres. Celine Chamarki will jump in and join us to break down that game.